Thank you everyone for joining me today, especially this Emerging Jewelers Accelerated program. I'm really excited to be here to lend my ideas and my philosophies on modern business strategy. So I'm Valerie. I am the owner and creative director of Valerie Madison Fine Jewelry. I began my jewelry business and transformed it into a career 10 years ago. That's when I took the big leap. And then I opened up my first store in 2020. So I've learned quite a few things, and I have specific experience in the wedding and engagement sector. I am a self-taught jewelry designer and jewelry maker, and I am a Black Latina, and that gives me a really unique perspective in being able to run a business different to a lot of the way a lot of our peers run their business. How am I like you? Well, I began my business without a plan. I didn't have a mentor to help me. I'm self-taught in everything I do, and I'm not afraid to do hard things. And I think a lot of you can kind of relate to those values. So I wanted to show you, I think examples are really, really helpful when trying to grow your business. And so I wanted to give you specific examples of the trajectory that I had so that you can see it truly is possible. I hope these numbers kind of paint a really good picture for you. I hope they kind of stay confidential within our little circle, but I do think that you can learn by seeing. So what I'm demonstrating here, 10 years ago, my annual revenue was $130,000. Every year it's been able to have significant growth, and you can either put a lot into it and see your efforts growing by, I've had as much as 110% growth. And then some years it's just 10% growth, and additional years not shown here is less than that. But you can see by 2021, I was almost crossing the 3 million in revenue mark, and that's with just me and a small team. The numbers on the left demonstrate my average monthly revenue, which used to be 17,000 a month and has steadily climbed to exceeding over 200,000 a month. So if you have goals that are similar to mine, I thought this would help paint a picture of someone who's been able to achieve that. And the strategy philosophies that I'll share are what I used to help me get there. So my mission is to both validate where you are in your business already and also show you concepts that you can apply to your own business to help you grow. And then I want to remind you that you're in business to make money. At the end of the day, some of us are artists and some of us are money makers, and it's an art to be able to blend the two. Oops. Okay, so here's an overview of what I'd like to cover today. In section 1, we'll touch on understanding the jewelry market, and then we'll jump to crafting a unique value proposition. Section 3 will be strategic planning and goal setting. And section 4 will be execution and implementation. Section 5 will talk on marketing and branding in a really general way. And then I'll go over just my key takeaways and a Q&A with you at the end. So make sure you take really good notes, and I'll be able to touch on those questions at the end. So for section 1, I want to talk about understanding the jewelry market. Closely watch your competitors, but don't forget to keep an eye on your customers as well. So you will already be aware of this, but understanding the jewelry market means doing an analysis on your market and your customers, as well as your competitors. So market analysis is going to include factors like your competition, your customer needs, and economic factors to help you develop strategic insights for successful business planning and execution. Economic indicators is one that I want to put an asterisk next to, because I think as a lot of us are starting our business, we're thinking about a lot of the elements that surround us in our little nuclear bubbles. But I know the pandemic was a really, really big overarching one that we can all learn from, and there will be more economic factors in the future. Something that I wish I did differently as I was coming up in business is just paying attention to the economy more, because jewelry is one of the first things to be affected. It is certainly not the last thing to be affected. So pay attention to the economy. With the competitor analysis part of this, that means the evaluation of rival businesses to understand their strengths and weaknesses. By examining their market presence, products, and performance, you can gain valuable insight to enhance your own competitive advantage and make informed strategic decisions. I'll talk about this again and again, but there's no need to recreate the wheel. So if your competitors are doing something, it's a really good opportunity for you to learn how to take advantage of that. So some tools and methods for effective competitor analysis. I put 4 in here. I think attending trade shows is a really great way to conduct competitor analysis. It allows you to see who's in the room, to see who's your equals, to see who your aspirational designers and companies are. And networking is super important. I think that with the pandemic behind us, networking is coming back, and it's really good to just see those faces and make those connections in person. Secondly, analyzing social media. It's really eye-opening to look at who your competitors' followers are, what kinds of promotions are they running, what types of engagement are you seeing back and forth, and their follower demographic. You may have a different audience in them, but you can still learn a lot by what your competitors are doing on social media. Scrutinizing websites is also really important. A website should feel like a home for the brand. So it should feel like an extension of the brand's personality and be decorated with rooms and bedrooms and hallways that feel like the brand. And when you scrutinize a competitor's website, you should be able to see that and kind of set the bar for how you can do that. And it should resonate with the type of customer that you are trying to attract. And then lastly, a SWOT analysis, which we'll touch on more later, but this will help you identify internal and external weaknesses and opportunities to help give you an overview of where you stand in comparison to where your competitors are standing and what they're doing. So section 2 is crafting a unique value proposition. I read in a book recently that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. That book really changed, my mind about, I guess, the stories that we tell about our business. So you need to be thinking about the why a customer is choosing to support you versus your competition. So identifying your unique selling points, there's quite a few ways to do that. I have here identifying your core strength. Ask yourself, what is your personal and professional strengths? What can you do that others aren't able to do? The next one is understanding your customer's needs. Can you describe your customer's persona in detail? Do you know what they look like? Do you know where they live? Do you know where they're wearing their jewelry? What are the gaps that you're filling in terms of what your customers need but can't find elsewhere? Analyzing your competitors' unique selling points. What makes them unique? And what are their weaknesses and how can you exploit that? Value proposition. That means what problems are you solving for your customers? What needs are you fulfilling? And can you boil this down? Can you really concentrate this to like one mission? Focusing on your brand identity. What are the values and characteristics that are associated with your brand? What is the voice of your brand? Are you playful? Are you, sultry? What kind of persona are you trying to put behind your brand? You can highlight your specialization and niche. So your niche can be maybe it's bridal, or maybe it's memorial jewelry, or maybe it is birthstone jewelry for new moms. If you can find and become an expert in one area, that's going to build loyalty and brand trust. Unique offerings refers to the products, services, or features that customers can get from you that they can't get from anywhere else. Customer feedback and testimonials. You can collect feedback on what customers appreciate about your products or services, and you can incorporate these positive customer testimonials into your marketing materials. I have used customer feedback a lot over the years to help shape how my business grows. My customers have been really good at reaffirming the values and the things that they see in my jewelry that I wasn't realizing I was putting in there, because you get tunnel vision, you kind of see only a few things, but your customer feedback, if you can really review that on the whole, maybe download and create a report of the positive reviews that you got, even the negative ones, you can see like what you were repeating that customers are seeing a lot of value from. You can emphasize your quality and excellence. So maybe you're always constantly striving to communicate, our quality is above and beyond anything else that you're going to get out there. Or maybe it's certifications and accreditations. So showing that you recently got your GG, or maybe you have a BFA from a certain school. Make sure you show that to your customers wherever you can. Differentiating through customer experience just means that you are really delivering on that white glove experience. Customers are buying everything online now, and the bar is pretty low. So with great attention paid to exceptional service, you can meet your customers' needs and stand out to them in that way. And then personalization, maybe there's a way to make your jewelry memorable and distinctive. Maybe the experience is personalized. So they come into your store and you greet them and you give them champagne, or maybe you are working with an online customer and you're able to customize the note in the order when you ship it to them, or maybe you can do engraving on rings, anything to make your customers feel like they got a really special touch from shopping from your store specifically. And then continual refinement. You will always be changing this. You should always be revisiting this. You shouldn't be getting comfortable and thinking, okay, this is the way that I do it going forward. You should be kind of analyzing things and saying, did that work? Is this being noticed by customers? Is it standing out to people? And just kind of revisiting that strategy every so often. So to help demonstrate this, I thought we could do a hypothetical USP on Catbird. So Catbird is a Brooklyn-based jewelry brand that started off really small potatoes. And I thought it would be really helpful because they can illustrate how they define their own unique selling points using the steps that we just went over. So everything here is hypothetical, but you could duplicate it for your own business. And I'm doing this to help you see just how easy it is to pull that out from other brands. So Catbird, their core strengths are that they handmade, ethically sourced, and they really focus on delicate little small designs. They satisfy a customer need for artisanal, handcrafted jewelry that tells a personal story. And it appeals to people who value sustainably and ethically sourced materials. Catbird analyzes their competitors in the handmade artisanal jewelry space, differentiating by its commitment to sustainability, unique designs, and the lower price points. Their value proposition communicates this idea of handcrafted stories, sustainably yours, which aligns with their commitment to craftsmanship, personal storytelling, and ethical practices. Their brand identity projects a youthful, bohemian, and ethereal brand identity, which aligns with their values of craftsmanship, individuality, and sustainability. If you check out their website, you'll see that their brand identity is really thickly laid onto all of their imagery, their social feed. They do that really well. They specialize in delicate stackable jewelry, such as rings, necklaces, and emphasis on unique designs that resonate with the free-spirited individual. They are really good at demonstrating their customer testimonials, which praise the brand for the unique designs and the personalized shopping experience. You can see here in this image that they definitely curate and collect these notes sent from their customers. And this really demonstrates to people on the outside that they have a very loving community. They emphasize quality by showing images of their jewelry being made in-house, and they create each piece, not to order, but they're making it all themselves. And they have excelled at creating community around its brand. They host tons of events and pop-ups because they have the resources to do that. But they did start small, and I think they understand that the customer experience should be personalized and prioritized. And they continually refine their brand by regularly showing new collections that align with evolving trends while maintaining the brand's commitment to handmade craftsmanship and sustainability. Section 3, strategic planning and goal setting with SMART goals and SMART SWOT analysis. So some of you may be familiar with SMART goals already and SWOT analysis, but I think it's really good to hear about it again, and especially under the context of the jewelry industry. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So when you apply SMART goals, you can integrate these into your broader business strategy, and you can align these goals, especially within specific departments of your operations, into the broader business vision. The benefits of SMART goals is it gives you clarity, focus, accountability, measurability, and improved decision making, as well as like some time constraints. And sometimes this combats the unrealistic expectations and the lack of alignment with the business's vision if you were to just kind of set a goal willy-nilly with these constraints. So I wanted to use Catbird again because I think they're really easy to access online and see an example of their work to understand another hypothetical objective. So let's say Catbird says, we want to increase online engagement and sales with Catbird's sustainable jewelry collection within the next 6 months. How do we make this goal SMART? So here's the goal up top again, so we can review it, but we can apply specificity to this goal by saying, we're going to launch a digital marketing campaign to promote Catbird's sustainable jewelry collection, showcasing the uses of ethically sourced materials and eco-friendly production practices. We are going to make this goal measurable by setting a goal of aiming to achieve a 30% increase in online sales metrics and a 20% growth in sales of the sustainable jewelry collection by the end of a 6-month period. This goal can be made achievable by utilizing existing resources and collaborating with influencers passionate about sustainability. And we can leverage social media platforms to reach a wider audience interested in ethical and eco-conscious jewelry. This goal is relevant because it aligns with Catbird's commitment to sustainability and ethical practices, and the goal supports the brand's overall mission of providing customers with responsibly crafted, unique jewelry pieces. And lastly, this goal is time-bound because the goal is to launch the digital marketing campaign within the next month and track progress monthly. So after you set your SMART goals, you develop an implementation plan that is time-bound. So we've got month 1, we're going to develop and launch this digital marketing campaign. Month 2, we're going to monitor the engagement metrics weekly, making adjustments where needed. And then month 6, you're going to evaluate the overall success to see if you were able to meet that goal. If everything goes well, the expected outcomes would be to increase that online engagement, those metrics as you'd set out to do, and achieve that specific 30% increase in overall sales for their sustainable jewelry collection. And then as a result, you'll also get enhanced brand perception as a leader in the sustainable fine jewelry collection. I'm not sure if your businesses at this point are thinking in terms of really granular goals like percentage increases and the number of store traffic you have or the website traffic, but it's not a bad idea to start getting in that frame of thinking because my favorite quote is, what gets measured gets managed. And I think that tracking those metrics early on will give you insights to areas that you can improve because you've got the data to back that up. So a SWOT analysis is something that you can turn back on yourself to reflect inward, and you can use it to identify your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of a business or specific project. It provides a comprehensive understanding of both internal and external factors that can impact the success or failure of a business. So I'm going to show you a more detailed breakdown. So strengths. Examples of strengths could be a strong brand reputation for unique and high quality designs. It could be skilled and experienced in-house designers and craftsmen. It can also mean established customer loyalty and a dedicated customer base. Examples of weaknesses could be maybe you don't have the money for a large marketing budget. Maybe you rely on one supplier. You've got all your eggs in one basket, and this poses a potential supply chain risk. Or maybe you have limited digital presence. Opportunities, examples would be there's a growing demand for sustainable and ethical jewelry, and you know just the vendors to help make this happen. Or maybe it's expanding into emerging markets or collaborations with influencers to reach new customer segments. technological advancements for enhancing online sales and customer service. That opportunity could be CAD. Maybe you want to buy your own CAD system to do your modeling yourself. And then examples of threats can be intense competition from other jewelry brands in the fine jewelry industry, and fluctuations in the prices of precious metals impacting production costs, or maybe a stone that you use is becoming harder and harder to find. Economic downturn is definitely a threat because this can affect your customers choosing to decide to spend their budgets on luxury items. So here is a table that I just found this online, but when you do a SWOT analysis, you're going to create just a 2x2 grid, and you're going to plot out your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and threats. It's super helpful. There's tons of tables that you can find in Pinterest or just in Google, or you can just simply create a spreadsheet or chart it on paper and just write these out and use it as a point of reflection for where you are at in your business, so that you can revisit this, and you'll find that this changes every 6 months. What you saw was a threat. Maybe you worked on that over the next 6 months and it changed, and that's no longer a threat and now more of an opportunity. So that's just speaking to that refinement, that continual refinement that I mentioned earlier. Actionable strategies for your business. This is my section 4. So for you people in the program and a lot of other people, including myself, the biggest impact to your business is going to come from improving your products, expanding your reach, and optimizing your operations. Sorry, it's missing an S. These areas alone, you're going to see significant changes in your business. So I wanted to give you some examples of ways to actually do that. So when it comes to improving your business, you could try introducing new collections, regular and seasonal collections to keep product offerings fresh and appealing. You could diversify your product range. So maybe you want to start offering personalized jewelry, or maybe you haven't explored working with solid gold yet. I know that when I was long time ago, I was terrified to get into gold, and I was working exclusively with more affordable jewelry. And even I've seen people working with more in the fine fashion industry and just afraid to make that leap into gold. But sometimes dabbling and just taking that step forward will help you diversify your product range. Enhancing your online shopping experience. If you're not on Shopify already and you want that more streamlined online experience for your customers, I would highly recommend enhancing your online shopping experience by transitioning over to Shopify. Promoting sustainability, emphasizing the use of ethically sourced materials, recycled metals, and sustainable production processes, so that you can, in turn, kind of intertwine that into your brand identity and talk about that on your social media platforms and your website. Maybe it's a good time for you to pursue certifications and transparency. So obtaining and highlighting certifications for higher education or ethical and sustainable practices to build trust with your customers. You could start offering customization services. Maybe it's engraving or, like I said, gemstones, any way to make a customer feel like their piece was uniquely designed for them. And continuous innovation. So staying on top of industry trends, maybe by attending trade shows and incorporating them into your product designs and marketing strategies. If you don't have the budget to attend trade shows, you can certainly stay on top of continuous innovation by social media and TikTok. All those platforms are showing you ways that people are changing the industry, and you need to keep up with them. Examples of expanding your reach. These can include leveraging platforms like Pinterest and YouTube. These are two platforms that I personally, YouTube is hard because YouTube craves longer format, but it's still kind of the wild, wild west on YouTube. So that's definitely a platform to take advantage of while it's still young. And then Pinterest. Pinterest is for people, for customers who are really working on their long game. They are planning their wedding or planning their event or planning their looks long beyond like when it's actually going to happen. They're just dreaming. So if you think your customer is a dreamer, Pinterest is a great platform to take advantage of. And then get out of the local mindset. Let's say you're just working with customers who are around your zip code. You can try to break that by trying to leverage social media and paid ads to get people to see your work in other areas of the nation. Content marketing definitely expands your reach. Blog posts and videos can share your brand story. Education is a really good topic that Google loves to prioritize when when you're working on things that will show up in the search algorithm. Referral programs. This one's a tricky one. It doesn't apply to everyone, but your word of mouth between your customers is a really valuable object to have. And so I think that making sure your customers feel rewarded for sending other customers your way is really important. Market research means identifying new markets with a strong demand for fine jewelry that have aligning taste with your brand's aesthetics. Maybe you create jewelry that is super loved and appreciated in the art jewelry community. And maybe you identify that a wholesale account with a specific museum opens doors for you and can show you and introduce your work to a whole new market that definitely aligns with the existing demographics that you have already. And then pop-ups and events. Participate and organize pop-ups in collaboration with like-minded brands to create events that connect you with customers in person and create that brand awareness. These take a lot of elbow grease, but it can be really great to just build that community. People love to support a brand that has a face, so make sure that you're there. This can include like a trunk show. You can work with, hotels. You can work with retail shops. You can work with a whole lot of like complementary brands to make this a possibility for you. And then strategic retail partnerships, I kind of talked about that, but it's just wholesale connections if you are in the position where you want to sell your jewelry. But I personally believe that direct to consumer is the way to go. I think it's different work. I don't want to say it's less work. I don't want to necessarily say it's more work either. It's maybe a little bit more work, but the reward is a lot financially, obviously, at least double what you're getting in wholesale. So, and I think a lot of customers, like I said, want to support a brand that has a face. So wholesale is definitely a very viable option. It just doesn't apply to every brand. Examples of optimizing your operations. So you can explore cost-effective digital marketing strategies to enhance your online visibility. This helps because not everyone has a robust marketing budget solution, but I think it's really important despite having limited funds there. You can diversify your supplier relationships. I had talked about not keeping all your eggs in one basket. That was something that I unfortunately did a couple years ago, and it really made things really hard when you are trying to change up your products. And if something were to happen to your current vendors and you're limited there, it is going to affect the trajectory of your business. Analyzing customer data. I'm really big on this. I like to just really understand with data the behaviors of my customers so that I have numbers to back up the decisions that I need to make. If you're on Shopify, one thing I like about Shopify is that it's got really great reports so that you can download that data and understand how customers are shopping. You can see if customers are making returns a lot. You can do a report and see what specific products are getting the most visits or purchases. Lots of good information there. And then strategic evaluation and adaptation. So again, that continual refinement, regularly assessing the effectiveness of your strategies and adapting them based on evolving market dynamics and customer preferences, because things do change. And that's a good thing, I think, if your business is growing and changing. The next part of this is resource allocation. So I truly understand what it's like to have a limited budget and limited resources. So effective resource allocation means what goes out must come in and then some. Remember, we are in a business to make money. Sometimes that's hard because for a while, even I was stuck in this mindset of I'm an artist and, it's really meaningful for me to, make connections with people and make sure that they understand the value of my art, blah, blah, blah. I do have to make money and because I've got bills to pay, and you can't pay for your jewelry in money, and you can't pay for your bills in jewelry is what I meant to say. So you need to consider your particular budget constraints and your priorities, and then the seasonality of your sales. I'll show you in the next slide, but there is going to be some trends that you should be able to pick up on throughout the year. And then say no to spending money on things that aren't aligned with your strategy and won't get you closer to your goals. So maybe your strategy for this year is more website visits. And maybe your strategy for the following year is maybe you want to close some wholesale accounts or you want to open some wholesale accounts. Those strategies are going to affect what you decide to spend your money on. And then get comfortable with spreadsheets, QuickBooks, your accountants. You need to be reviewing your financial metrics very often, at least once a week. I feel like the moment you start to let that go, you will kind of lose sight of how your financial decisions are aligning with your financial goals. This screenshot here, I wanted to share. It is 2021 versus 2022, and it's just a year of data from January to December. I don't know why, I guess December is at the end of this screenshot, but I wanted to demonstrate seasonality so that you can see an example of it in real life. You can see here that what I'm expecting for my business is kind of that the lines, the dotted line and the solid line. So the dotted line represents the older year and the solid line represents the more recent year of 2022. And I want those lines to kind of stay together. And every time they open up and show an eye in there. So if you look at April, you can see that one year did a lot better than the other. And that's a year for you to go back and take some reflection and be like, what did I do differently? And you can see the following month, it flip-flopped in May. So in April, I was doing something better than I was in the previous year. And in May, I was doing something different that harmed, my revenue, and it dropped quite a bit. The same thing happened in September. And so I have to look back on this and say, what did I do differently? What worked well and what didn't work well? So that's just an example of why I think reviewing metrics and keeping all of that data is really important, because it helps you make those really big and qualified decisions. Optimizing operations for efficiency. So here's some examples of outsourcing non-core and not fun functions. So maybe you hate doing your accounting, or maybe you hate packaging your orders or social media. You can definitely outsource pretty much anything. I am a fan of outsourcing because I have experienced for you the difficulties of staffing a lot of people. And I am here to say that if you can ever outsource versus like fully hiring, I'm a fan of that, because with hiring, there are state laws that you have to follow and changes that happen that affect you. There's also like healthcare and benefits that may or may not be within your ability to offer, and that can get really complicated. And I'm in my 10-year anniversary coming up for my business, which I'm super proud of. But I will say that I have spent the last 3 years maybe being an HR manager more so than a jewelry designer, because I have so many staff issues to take care of internally. So it definitely takes you away from your business if you can't focus on your designs and the core vision that you have when you have to spend time doing things that you don't love. So definitely consider that. Inventory management systems. I think it's really important to manage your inventory, even if you don't have the most money in the world to buy something that is really expensive. Some of these softwares can cost thousands of dollars, and maybe you're not there yet, but a spreadsheet will do. It also gives you peace of mind. Let's say your store gets broken into and things are taken, you know exactly what you have on hand. If something happens and you don't have the ability to tell the insurance company what exactly happened, it can get really muddy. And so I think it just gives you clarity, and it helps you also understand where your cash is sitting. So you can't, like I said before, you can't pay bills in jewelry. And if all of your money is locked up in raw materials, sitting somewhere, that doesn't do you any good. So it just helps you keep a pulse on what you have on hand. And then investing in your workspace setup for efficiency, organizing your space, maybe investing in the right type of space and renting a studio that does you much more good than the current setup that you have now. All of this will lead to more effective flow of your operations. So I wanted to show you just some quick spreadsheets of like managing inventory doesn't have to get complicated, right? You can just simply lay out tables of the information that you want to track. And then I would make sure to include your costs in there too, because at any given time, someone should ask you, how much do you have in inventory? And you may not know off the top of your mind, but you need to be able to open up a spreadsheet or reference that data somewhere. So I'm just demonstrating here. It doesn't have to be super difficult. It can be really straightforward and simple. More ideas for operations efficiency and optimizing for that will be technology adoption. Like I mentioned earlier, CAD software and other technologies are a great investment for your business so that you can start designing in-house. That makes you more self-reliant versus trying to rely on others. Cost-efficient packaging and shipping. So optimizing there, it can be really pricey to do custom things, and sometimes you may not have the volume to command a minimum order quantity, an MOQ of like 3,000 pieces. And designs change, so it's hard to commit to a larger volume of packaging there. So spend time investing in what makes sense for you at the volume that you're at right now. And then investing and leveraging your e-commerce site. You can't do business today without a good website. So depending on your sales volume, Shopify may be a good option for you. Be sure to plan well for the future of your business, because it's not easy to transition your website and migrate things over from, let's say you're on Squarespace and you want to move to Shopify. It can be done, and there's definitely people you can hire to outsource to do this for you. But if you can start on the right path now, it's going to be a lot better. And investing in professional photography. I think a lot of us can wait really long to do this because we're not sure we want to spend $2,000 on a shoot. But let me tell you, those images, because you've spent a lot of money on them, as long as you do the proper planning and you get the shots exactly as you had intended, those shots are super valuable and will give you the confidence to present yourself with the same tone and of the brand identity that you're trying to put out into the world. That alignment with your photography is going to be really important to help build your confidence. So my last section is on marketing and branding. A lot of this is going to be, I'm going to try to get through this first page pretty quick because you guys already know this, but social media marketing. So Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, don't overlook any of them. I think all of them are really important. You'll find ones that are more important for you versus or compared to others. TikTok for me has been really great this year, but I have someone who is able to kind of create my TikToks for me. And it does take a lot of bandwidth to be able to do that and run all the other aspects of your business. YouTube, like I said before, is kind of a new frontier. So I would definitely jump onto that before it gets pretty saturated. Influencer collaborations, we all know that that can be really beneficial, provided you connect with the right person who emulates what you're already trying to do with your brand. Website content marketing. So this is like creating blogs or videos. I like to think about when you're searching for a jewelry topic on Google, and sometimes a jewelry blog's website or jewelry website's blog will show up because they're answering that question. That's a really good example of SEO. It's creating blog content that matches what people are searching for. Email marketing, that's like got 7 asterisks next to it because I think it's the most important thing personally that I've done to really increase my business's reach. Once you get the hang of it, it's kind of a shallow trajectory in the beginning, and then it really like grows and steepens. But there's so much there with email marketing that is super valuable, and those people have obviously agreed to and consent to receiving your information in their inbox, which is such a private area to connect with people. So do it right and contract that out if you need to. It can be a little pricey, so I recommend just doing it yourself and learning how to do it. And then again, on that search engine optimization, make sure that the right keywords are in your website. Make sure that when you are uploading images to your website, that those alt tags are populated with words that refer to what's being shown in the image, because Google crawls your website all the time and is making sure that it has the information that customers are looking for. If a customer goes to your website and it leaves immediately, that contributes to your what's called the bounce rate. And if you have a bounce rate that's too high, it's telling Google that, oh, people are showing up to this website, but they're leaving immediately because there's nothing of value here. You need people to spend minutes and minutes on your website. But if they're leaving within 30 seconds, even less, that's not a good sign to Google. So you need to make sure that you're doing everything possible to indicate to Google that customers are finding what they need here and you're doing a good job, because they'll keep referring more customers to your website. Pay-per-click advertising. Google Ads has been really great for us, but I understand that it goes kind of above and beyond what a lot of us understand at the beginning of our career, in the middle of our career, and even as we've been in it for a while. If it's not your forte, hire that out. We work with an ad agency called Hawk Media, and it's expensive. It is around $2,500 a month just to retain some agencies like them, and then you'll need a few thousand in ad spend on top of that. But I think that the ROI on ad spend, so long as you have photos that you're really proud of and you think that you feel confident that it's going to bring an audience back to your website, I think it's a worthwhile investment if you've got that matching photography. Video marketing. Leveraging video content on platforms like YouTube to showcase your jewelry in action, share behind the scenes footage and educational content. Customers are really into both of those, behind the scenes and educational content, just to build that story. Social media advertising. So running targeted ads like Facebook ads will help you reach your specific demographics. Make sure you're using appealing creatives to capture attention and drive traffic to your online store. Again, with the creative assets here, again, really going to need to be on point, because that's what's going to make your ad campaigns really successful. Customer reviews and testimonials. So encouraging satisfied customers to leave reviews and testimonials on your website is super important. It builds trust and credibility. For me, that is one of the pillars for my specific business that I love to lean into when trying to captivate customers and demonstrate that trust, because we have over 300 5-star Google reviews, which is taking us a few years to do it, but we've got some really happy customers. And exclusive online events. Hosting online events or sales, creating a sense of urgency and exclusivity among your audience. This could be limited time discounts, product launches, or virtual trunk shows. If you've ever been on my website, we always try to keep something new and fresh. Maybe there is an event happening in our store, or maybe we're running a current promotion, or maybe we're releasing some new one-of-a-kinds, which we did in my store today. But I will say that your customers do get trained and learn to expect sales. So be really mindful of how often you do it, if at all, because not every business is meant to have sales and discounts. I think that, like I said, customers get trained for that and they come to expect that. But certain jewelry sectors of this industry shouldn't be having sales with regularity. So it just depends on your business and the goals that you're after. Branding for success. So I love the image on the right because it really is just summarizing what consists of branding. It's your brand position, it's your story, it's your identity, it's the vision for where you think your jewelry company is going to go, it's the values that you have, and it's the purpose. It's your why, and it's how you're executing it to the world. So to build a strong brand image, you'll want to define your brand values. Clearly articulate your core values that your brand stands for. Sustainability, craftsmanship, timeless elegance. You should know fairly immediately and instinctively what these brand values are. Identifying your unique selling proposition. We talked about that earlier with the catbird example. So demonstrating or determining what sets your jewelry brand apart from others in the market. You could have a distinctive design style, you could be using rare materials, or you could be dedicated to ethical practices. Whatever you are using to differentiate yourself is part of your USP. Creating a memorable logo and visual identity. I think that it's really great when you can be scrolling through Instagram or TikTok and kind of know the feel and look of a brand's identity and their imagery, and know that it's them before even seeing their name. Design a distinctive and memorable logo that represents your brand, and establish a consistent visual identity, including color schemes, fonts, and imagery across all branding materials. This one is really important. It took me personally a long time to learn, but that consistency builds trust, and customers need to see your jewelry quite a few times, presented in a lot of different ways, but in ways that still feel cohesive and connected. And crafting a compelling brand story. So developing a narrative that communicates the history, inspiration, and values of your brand. A compelling brand story helps forge an emotional connection with customers and helps you build that community. More on building a strong brand image. So focusing on quality and craftsmanship, emphasizing the quality of your jewelry and the craftsmanship behind each piece, but really meaning it. Like if you say that this piece is indestructible and it's super solid and made with high quality and the stone setting is never going to break, then you better stand behind that promise. Consistently delivering high quality products reinforces your brand's reputation and fosters customer trust, and will get you more of those positive reviews. Professional photography. Investment here is going to showcase your jewelry in a really positive way. High quality visuals will convey a sense of luxury and sophistication, enhancing the perceived value of your brand. Even if it's not specifically luxury and sophistication that you're going after, there's still a luxury in being able to craft that beautiful scenery and that story behind the images. Even if you're a playful brand, make sure that your photography comes through at a level that makes people trust that you put your creative time and energy behind getting this consistent visual appeal of your work. Engaging in strategic collaborations. You can do this with influencers or other brands that align with your aesthetic and values. Such partnerships will introduce your brand to new audiences and reinforce its credibility. And providing exceptional customer service. Delivering outstanding customer service will create positive experiences. Those word of mouth recommendations are really important. And those satisfied customers will always speak highly on your brand and will contribute to your brand image. So to maintain the strong image that you've worked so hard to build, you want to be consistent across your platforms. This means website, social media, packaging, and promotional materials. A unified brand presence enhances recognition, and that comes from using those consistent colors, that consistent, maybe that filter on that photography that you're using, your fonts. Make sure that people are seeing that in your packaging. They need to see that in the multitude of touch points that they have to make sure that they trust you and the transaction doesn't feel like disconjointed. Regularly reviewing and updating. That continual refinement comes in here, just to make sure that you're reviewing your brand positioning to ensure it remains relevant. Adapting your messaging or visual elements as needed to reflect changes in the market or customer preferences. Responsive social media presence. So if you're going to be active, you've got to be really responsive to your comments and messages. This can get really tricky because it's a lot. It's a lot to be on social media all the time. And we designers are not here to be on social media. We're here to design and create jewelry and create brands. But this is part of it. And you just got to dedicate the time there. So just make sure that you can kind of be efficient with your time there and maybe schedule it into your day. But it's really good for building that community. And adapting to market trends. So stay informed about industry trends and adapt your brand strategy accordingly. Those trade shows are really going to give you some insight into what's coming. Balancing timeless elements with contemporary trends helps your brand stay relevant. So you can lean really hard into these trends, but I think keeping a foot into like what's steady will also give you that balance so that your customers, it just depends on you and your brand. But I think early adopters are often rewarded by just taking on those trends and innovations early on. And that makes your customers feel like if they're early adopters too, that they can trust in you to bring them the newest, coolest, best thing. But there's something to be said too for the people who are just kind of lean into the stability of what's classic, what's timeless. There's something for everyone out there. Leveraging user-generated content. So UGC is something that I think we're all familiar with. It's really important that we show that because it's kind of like an extension of that word of mouth, because it is just kind of like visually a token of that person's appreciation for you, the work that you did for them, and a picture says 1,000 words. And so making sure that you are sharing that UGC on your social media, even your website, make sure to get their permission, because not everyone agrees to that. Even if they DM it to you themselves, you still need to ask them. Seek and act on customer feedback. We like to do surveys every year if we can. I think we skipped ours this year, but surveys are really great for getting people's honest opinions and feedback on how you run your business. People are not afraid to tell you how they feel about things. And you can also ask them, like, what do they want to see more of? And if it's something that you were already planning to do, great. It means you're on the right path. But if it's something that you've never heard of and a lot of customers asking for, it's a good indication that you've got the ability to kind of change your path and do more of what they are asking for if you want. Crisis management. So be prepared to handle potential crises swiftly and transparently. Address issues openly and honestly to maintain trust and mitigate potential damage to your brand's reputation. So if you receive a negative review on Google, it's really important that you respond to that right away. Customers really want to see, potential customers are going to want to see how you handle that and know that they'll be treated with respect and courtesy. And investing in brand education. So educate your audience about your brand's values, your processes, and the significance of your jewelry. This can be through blog content or social media posts. I think social media posts is really important here because it's something that you can make sure to recycle into your feeds every so often, but on a pretty frequent basis. So here's my conclusion. So some key takeaways for building and maintaining a business plan / strategy. So if you're developing your business plan, you'll want to think about effective competitor analysis, utilize those tools like the SWOT analysis and market research for comprehensive competitor analysis, recognize the significance of staying updated on what your competitors are doing, what the market trends are, and what your customer preferences are. Define your unique selling points. Identify what makes your brand unique compared to others, and the importance of differentiation through design, craftsmanship, and ethical practices or storytelling. Actionable strategies for growth. We had talked about expanding product offerings, optimizing e-commerce, and leveraging those digital marketing efforts and exploring collaborations. Emphasize the importance of continuous innovation, customer loyalty programs, if that applies to you, and sustainability in your business's growth. And then we talked about the general insights on fine jewelry branding and marketing. So emphasizing the significance of building and maintaining strong brand image through storytelling, quality, and customer engagement, and the effectiveness of various digital marketing channels, social media, influencer and collaborations, and content marketing in the fine jewelry industry. In conclusion, my final bullet points are: research the market, the economy, and your competitors to help you determine the sweet spots for your business. Analyze your competitors often, but stay in your own lane. Differentiate your brand through unique selling points and consistently communicate brand values. Diversify your marketing channels such as Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and YouTube to reach and engage with a diverse audience. Review your strategy, your key performance indicators, and market trends and company finances with regularity. Remember that you're here to make money, so act accordingly. And dream big and celebrate your successes. Any questions? Oh, here's some additional resources before we jump into questions. Here are some books. Some of them I read, some of them have been recommended to me. And then Upwork.com has been a really great source. If you haven't used it already, Upwork.com is great for just kind of anything online that you need help with. Let's say something is broken and glitchy on your website, you can find someone pretty affordably to work on little things for you, or you can give them really big projects. It's totally up to you. And so that is it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I think that's it. My contact information is on the bottom left here. On Instagram, I'm at _Valerie Madison. And my email is val@valeriemadison.com if any of you have any additional questions that I can help you with. Thank you all.
Thank you, Valerie. That was really, really great. That was super informative. I hope everybody else felt it was as informative as I did. I learned a ton. I just want to let everybody know I recorded this so I can send it to you guys afterwards. And I think you may have already seen, because I know it caused a little confusion because I sent the Zoom for the next session at the end of February. Tomorrow I'll probably be inundating you with the rest of the Zoom invites. So if anybody has any questions or anything, just let me know, but you'll be getting a lot of meeting invitations from me. So yeah, does anybody have any comments or anything?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Valerie. This was super informative. You dropped a lot of gems, as I know you would. And I encourage anyone on the call to keep in connection with Valerie as she's offered up her email. And if you all have any additional thoughts before the session ends, definitely use this time now.
Yeah, even if it's not a specific question, you know, I'd love to hear if this kind of aligns with what you've been experiencing with your business thus far, and if there's any particular challenges that you're seeing as you try to develop your strategy, or you know, are there any obstacles as you try to think of your business plans?
I just want to say thank you. It's very detailed, and I look forward to receiving a copy of the presentation so I can go through it and kind of you know, compare and, you know, just go through the steps that you offered and, you know, do my research and just go through the steps to get to where I need to be, because I really need this.
Good. I'm glad that was helpful.
I really need some structure. So
yeah, structure is really important because it gives you that focus. I think there's so many things that we can be doing, and it's just hard to say.
I feel like I'm all over the place right now. So that, you know, that overview is really great.
Good, good.
I had something I wanted to bring up. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation. It was really informative. Something that like really stuck with me that you said was about the website and talking about like all these like rooms that customers can like access. And I was like trying to visualize it because I feel like something we've been struggling with is we want to rebrand, because right now we're very like playful, like we do TikTok like skits. Like to make them funny, and we realized that like we're not really monetizing on that, and that like some people are not taking us seriously, but I feel like that's part of our character, so we're not really sure if we should get rid of that or how we can play on that like on our website, because you can't really see, I feel like, our personality on our website. But what I've noticed is like when customers do come into the store, their main like reason to shop with us is like our personality. So I'm like, I don't really know how to everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I totally see like where you're coming from, because you do want your website to be an extension of your brand. But if you're not feeling sure that what you're communicating is monetizing, then yeah, it's probably a good time to sit down and think about, okay, how can you portray that playfulness, that silliness, and sell jewelry? Does your product price points match that? You know, is the customer's experience also silly and fun? Like, what you have to figure out, where do you want this to go? And that website, it'll take time. I wouldn't put pressure on it to just be immediately perfect, but you can start tinkering with things. But I do like that you're thinking about how to monetize things. And if something's not working, maybe there's a compromise. Maybe you scale back in that and you find a way to kind of refine it and make it more maybe you try something more traditional, even if it's boring, but maybe you find that compromise of between, you know, traditional and more silly. But if it's you, then, you know, you should absolutely lean into what makes you you and what makes your brand different. But you're right, you do have to, because no one's done it before you. There's no like guidebook that you can follow.
I feel like a lot of the jewelry brands that we've looked at are very, in a sense, the same in terms of their websites, which is great because it's such an aesthetic, but it's like, I feel like it's all the same. It's like, how do you stand out when like everybody's doing like the same color scheme or like, yeah, I don't know, or the same like similar designs, you know? So
Yeah.
that's what we're struggling with.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that you mentioned the word rebranding, because that's exactly what I want to do. We're starting with the name of my business. It's Twin Elegance, and you know, that's a name I had from way back when, and I don't feel like it's connecting. I want to personalize it more. So I'm already starting the process of you know, changing the name. I know it's not advisable sometimes, but I feel like it's something that I have to do. I feel like it's going to connect more, because right now there's a disconnect. I create beautiful pieces, but I don't feel like it's connecting. I want to incorporate. I'm from South America, okay, well, you know, part of the Caribbean too, and I want to, I want to incorporate that. You know, be more authentically me. You know, show more of that in my brand, and I don't feel like it's happening now. So.
I felt the same way 10 years ago, and
Mhm.
that's when my business launched.
Okay.
Because before that, my business name was something else completely, and I
Yeah.
wasn't feeling like I was connecting. And I changed it to my own name so that I would
Mhm.
have that connection
Yeah.
and could
Yeah.
stand behind my pieces. So it was hard. It was really, really
Mhm.
hard. And I ended up just actually keeping the same business name legally and just adding my name as a DBA because
Okay.
for tax purposes, it was too much to
Mhm.
restart it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll still see, you know, my name legally, my old name legally in places, but I highly recommend if you're feeling this urge to change it,
Mhm.
it's tough, but do it because
Do
you
it.
won't
Yeah.
regret it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because I was, you know, I've struggled with it for a little while. But with
Yeah,
the new year coming, I figured, so look, I need to take this leap, because if, you know, nothing is going to change if you keep doing the same thing. So
exactly. Exactly.
thank you.
Well, I have something. Thank you as well, Valerie. It's really great to get your insight on
Yeah.
how you started your business and grew your business. I think my biggest issue in trying to find that balance, we do custom designs, but we also have manufacturers that we get their pieces for in our store. So trying to kind of, I know a lot of that you talked about was kind of on a standpoint of our personal designs being in the store, but because we do custom designing for the customer, and then we also have products in our store, I'm trying to figure out how to piece these all together in that sense, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
I don't think that's highly unusual to have different options for the customers, you know, custom versus pieces that you carry from other people. I see that model done a lot in other stores. I think just being confident about that versus, because if you feel shaky about it, that might come across in the presentation of it to your customers. So just feeling confident that this is the way we do it. And you don't have to be committed to that forever, but it's what you're doing right now. So you may as well lean into it if you're feeling like you want to continue that. But I think it's, as someone who runs a store where almost 100% of everything is designed and created by me, it would be such a luxury to be able to just kind of order from other vendors and for it to just come to me as it is, and I wouldn't have to spend my time there, and I could just focus on custom. But when I was making my jewelry, when designing my store, I wanted everything to continue to be made and designed by me. So even our fashion pieces, like everything is designed by me, and that takes a lot. But it is also a point of pride where I can say, yeah, everything in the store is designed by me. But it exhausts my resources, and it probably has been costing me a lot more money than being able to do it like your method, which is just sourcing straight from the manufacturer and then flipping it for the customer, so that you can focus your time and energy on custom, because that might be where it's more better spent. There is no perfect model for everyone, but whatever model you're in, just find that confidence to be in there, because it will present, any shakiness will present to your customers.
Yeah, I do feel confident in the way we do it, but part of me is also like, should we transition to having all of our own designs and merchandise in the store? It just seems like a huge undertaking and a huge change, because my background, my mom started the business many years ago, and I'm kind of taking over, and she didn't really have the resources to build a business strategy or any of the things that we're going to be learning and talking about. So taking over the business is kind of like a new business, because there's a lot of things that aren't really thought out or set into place yet. So I'm kind of trying to take what I'm given and make it into something that's going to be a lot more organized, and just will translate when it comes to making money in the industry.
I would think about it also, and similar to my advice on hiring versus subcontracting. If you contract out that work, it's easy to be done with things when they don't serve you. Similar to your own jewelry, if you're designing the pieces versus sourcing them, it's easy for you to be done with designs when they no longer benefit you or your customers. If you're designing it in-house, you may be stuck with, extra inventory, or it may be harder for you to say goodbye to pieces than it needs to be, because you're emotionally, you're like, oh, I designed this for this special time, and it reminds me of this, and they're all your babies, all these designs, and it takes a lot of time and energy. And so I feel like it could be potentially a little more work if you were to switch to designing. If it works now, you may not need to fix it. But if you want to, and you truly want to design jewelry, there's no harm in, opening up a small collection and seeing how it does, measuring those KPIs, seeing how your jewelry designs compare to your merchandise, your manufacturers. And if that works, lean into that and do more of that, but just kind of test the waters first.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Ashley, I just wanted to chime. Is Ashley right? Ashley, I just wanted to chime in. We actually have the same motto at our store, and we're also like kind of taking over our parents' business. So like alone, it's really hard.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's exciting to know that I have someone else here who understands like what I'm going through.
And that's great. That's what we wanted this program to provide. Emerging jewelers, you never know. You feel so alone, and you don't have people to share your experiences with. And after you get to know each other, you're like, oh, wait, we have this issue in common. So, now you have like a little network to help work through it together.
Yeah, I think it's great. When I was, beginning this 10 years ago, even Instagram wasn't even like that heavily used. And so I definitely felt super alone, and I've never had a mentor, and I've always felt like just kind of like pushing a rock uphill this whole time. And programs like this are super helpful, because you can kind of connect with others and not feel so alone. And distance doesn't have to mean anything. I think it's great if you live in a city where there's other jewelers that you can connect with in person. I'm all the way out here in Seattle, and we're kind of in this bubble, and it's a smaller jewelry scene over here. But I think it's great if you guys can all connect in person. I don't know if there's any events coming up, or if anyone went to Tucson, or if anyone's going to JCK. JCK is a really, really great show that I personally go to. So it would be great if BIJC could organize something so that we could have a meetup. I think that'd be really fun.
I'm so glad you said that. We are in the process of
Yay.
planning a meet and greet. We usually do something at the booth. So that information we'll definitely share with you, Valerie, as well as you all, so that you can plan around that. Trisha's actually involved in planning that process. So we'll definitely get that information over to you all.
Great.
Can I ask that everyone in the program, does everyone have a store? Like a physical brick and mortar store?
Mhm.
Everyone. Okay. Goals for me, goals. It's interesting. Well, ladies, I would love to, we should connect with each other somehow, even offline. I think I follow each of you. I went and follow your accounts.
Yeah, we're trying to find a way to have like a separate spot for you guys to sort of talk amongst yourselves and compare notes. I don't
Maybe a
know.
WhatsApp chat group or something.
Yeah, if everybody uses
Yeah.
that and everybody thinks that would work, we can totally set that up for you guys, because we were like, dude, maybe they want to go on Discord, but if WhatsApp works, then I will get something set up.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love that. I mean, I have a website only, but I would love to learn from all of you
Yeah,
ladies.
no,
who
this
have
is
stores
something easy that you can
Yeah.
just kind of like
that we can
shoot
share
stuff
with
back
each other.
and forth. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, great.
I'm excited. I don't know about you ladies. I'm excited. I'm super excited to get through this.
I'm
already
glad
happy.
that everybody's excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited too. This is good.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any more questions?
Hi, Trish.
Okay, if not, then, if I think we're done, then I can end this and I will get the recording out to everybody, and I'll send information about the WhatsApp group that I set up. And I'm also going to follow up with, because we do have like a welcome package, and we're in the process of getting that made. So I might need, t-shirt sizes and things like that. So I'll probably be